Alright, howdy folks. Right, this is the new approach to our geography lessons from now on, okay? I won't be sending any material on WhatsApp, but I'll still be using it to take any questions if you've got any problems or anything like that. But from now on, these videos will be posted on Plus Portal, so I encourage you to get Plus Portal sorted, and we're going to go full Plus Portal, returning all documents and assignments back through that, so I can give you individual feedback. More about that later, okay? From now on, for now, you'll need a highlighter and a pen, and we're going to go to page 256 and 257 of New Wider World. Okay, we're finishing off desertification. Okay, so let's make a quick start. Again, if I go too fast, remember you can look back over these videos again and play them at your leisure. Okay. Top of the page, desertification in the Sahel. So we're looking at the Sahel region in Africa. Flying down here, first two sentences, or first two bits to highlight. Okay, desertification in bold, and what is it? The simplest definition, taken literally, means turning land into desert. Now we've already looked at that before, so shouldn't be overly complicated. Okay, the next word I like is on the next line, degradation, and I've added a little note. This means the breaking down or destruction of something. Okay, that's all I've written up there, if you can see. So breaking down or destruction of something, that's what degradation, this word over here, means. Alright, moving on. Mainly in arid and semi-arid lands where rainfall is unreliable, caused by human mismanagement of a fragile environment. Okay, now arid and semi-arid regions. Arid just means dry. Remember, our hot deserts are defined by their dryness, not by their lack of vegetation or their temperature. It's to do with how dry they are. Alright, rainfall is unreliable, I highlighted that also. And then caused by human mismanagement. So there's human issues, and there's also physical issues or problems as well, like rainfall being unreliable. All right. Skip down onto the next line. The causes of desertification are complex, but it's now widely accepted that the results are from a combination of physical and human. Okay, so again, like we've just said, this little note that I've written in here, it might be a little bit hard to see. The human activities, you can write farming and climate change beside them. Okay, the physical ones are rainfall, a lack thereof. But these are combined, okay? You've got your physical and human activities, okay? Down here, I know Bunnett said a smaller number, but in here we've got over 1 billion people at risk. Alright, so you'll find that on that paragraph just down there. Also want to highlight this last little bit down the bottom, okay? While it is in the Sahel region of Africa that has received most attention, the problem is far more widespread. So highlight those little sentences, and right back up the top, this little bit, I should use my pen, 60 countries at the moment have issues with desertification. Alright, moving down then through here, so the Sahel, little introduction. Where is it? Okay, the Sahel is a narrow belt of semi-arid land, so it's immediately south of the Sahara Desert. Alright, I'll show you on a map down here in a second. But it's semi-arid, so it's not desert yet, but it's not far off. Okay, now let's look at some problems they have, and remember what we talked about back over here. All right, rainfall is confined to just 1 or 2 months of the year, but both the total amount of rain and the length of the rainy seasons are unreliable, and unreliable is that key. Rainfall has naturally been confined to 1 or 2 months of the year. They've always had a wet and dry season, but now it's kind of getting more and more extreme, and it's because of these things over here. I circle the word unreliable and have an arrow down to climate change making it worse. Alright, so you can add that note yourself in your book. Now, this is what used to happen. What now happens is total rainfall may come in several downpours, so maybe across a week, 2 weeks, instead of 1 or 2 months. Alright, it's unreliable. And when it does, it's lost through the surface, or lost by surface runoff. Alright, in many other years, rain may fail altogether. Now, the problem with this is when it's really hot, like the dry season, the ground becomes almost like concrete. Alright, the soil bakes, and it can no longer absorb water. So when the rainfall does come over these couple of downpours, it runs straight off the surface. Okay, so it doesn't get to hold the soil together. Alright, now, just up the top of the next paragraph, let me just move the book over. Alright, each drought means less grazing. Sorry, this causes droughts. So I highlighted droughts over here as well. Each drought causes less grazing land and fewer crops in an area where several countries have the highest birth rate and population growth in the world. Now there's some big words in there, alright? But each drought, so a drought is when there is no rainfall. If there's no rainfall, no vegetation can grow. If there's no vegetation, there's no food for people. And in the Sahel region, okay, unfortunately we got this picture here of a young kid, we've got huge birth rates, so lots of children, and huge population growth. So I've just added less food for people in here. So this is one of the major drawbacks or consequences or results or effects of desertification. So that's in a nutshell. We're going to look in a bit more detail in a moment. Before we do, I want to draw your attention to this map down the bottom. And again, this yellow bit in here, that's the Sahara, and we got the Sahel region highlighted here. You will notice the areas most at risk, 1 to 7, are all in the Sahel region. We got some desertification in central USA, a lot of Asia, Saudi, Australia, South Africa, parts of South America here, Argentina and Chile. Alright, but I want you to just add here assignment, help. This 1 to 7 will help you answer one of the questions in your assignment. Alright, so let's move on over here to the actual causes. Alright, it's getting a little bit blurry, but hopefully you'll be able to see. Now, cause of desertification. First thing is highlight the 2 bullet points just there. Okay, so we got 1 and 2. Just highlight those. Climate change and population growth, and these 2 things themselves are intrinsically linked. Okay, population growth is also causing climate change in a way, but that's for a different lesson. So from climate change, you can draw a little arrow over here. Okay, actually what I should have done, apologies, is highlight the bottom sentence just here. So highlight that. Alright, so now the resultant drought. Okay, so climate change is causing a lot of droughts, which cause seasonal rivers, so rivers that only appear during the wet season, and rivers and water holes to dry up, the water table to fall, and non-drought resistant vegetation to die. So what happens is, with our climate change, it's reducing that rainfall or making it less reliable. Alright, because of that, rivers and water holes are drying up, and the water table, I'll show you this little diagram I drew, it's a masterpiece, is starting to drop. Okay, also vegetation then dies. If you have no vegetation, the soil is exposed, and the soil will then get eroded away. We'll look at that in more detail in just a moment. So water table, I circled it and just put a little note saying look at the topic water from grade 10. Okay, when we talked about our water table, I drew this little diagram down here. You got the surface of the land, that's where this guy is standing. Okay, below that you've got something called the water table. I put WT for short. Alright, now the water table is the line, everything below that water table is saturated, is full of water. Now if there's been no rains or unreliable rainfall for a long time, the water table will shrink down, okay, and fall deeper underground. That means you can't drill a well down to get to the water, okay, and plants and animals, that's an animal, will die. Trees will die because they can't access the water anymore. So this is one of the bad things that happens. Second thing of climate change, or second arrow, higher temperatures mean increased evapotranspiration. Alright, so higher temperatures, which are also being caused by climate change, mean that there's more evaporation, so less water staying on the ground. Again, less vegetation can survive. The last one then, reduced condensation and therefore less rainfall. Okay, it's too hot for the air or the water vapor to condense and form clouds, so there's less rainfall, and then you go back up here and you've got this cycle going on where there's no vegetation growing. Okay, secondly, and this is going to get a little bit trickier now. Okay, what I'll do is I'm going to finish this video here because it's 9 minutes, and I'll put up a second one explaining the rest of the content and your assignment. Alright.